So when did you start working as a photographer with Canadian hip-hoppers, and why?
Well, this goes back to the early months of 1998. I had completed my education at Emily Carr, University of Art and Design in Vancouver, Canada. And after leaving school, it was clear that I was a little bit too big for that city, in the sense that what I wanted to do, or where I felt my talent could be best suited, wasn't in Vancouver, although I love Vancouver. So I decided that I might as well hit the big city, being Toronto, the T.O. And from there, I remember sitting and reading this magazine called Access Magazine, and reading the art director's name, Chad Maker, and his agency, and I decided, well, I should let Chad know that I'm in town. So I gave him a ring and told him I was new talent in the city, and that I really felt he should look at my work, and he gave me the time of day, thank goodness. And from there I was able to show him my portfolio that I'd been working on, of course, in school. And thank God, I have to say, that this man decided to give me my first break in Toronto, and gave me the 9-page spread and the cover of the Access Magazine feature of the Canadian hip-hop scene. And it was absolutely incredible. I was given the opportunity to shoot Me, She, Me. She was the cover, The Circle, Cardinal, Choclair, Socrates, oh my gosh, the Rascals. It was a full-on day, and absolutely a magical time for me, and a great opportunity to really shine, and so we all did together.
Can you talk about the magazines you worked with?
Well, gosh, obviously it was just spoken about Access Magazine, which was my first big break, if you will. And from there I got to work with the Globe and Mail. Thankfully they had discovered my work and Choclair, and I got to do a really great feature of Choclair in the Globe and Mail. And from there I had gone on to LA Rap Pages. And with LA Rap Pages I got to do a great feature with Maestro, which was absolutely incredible. It really became a relationship pinnacle for us, and I was given the opportunity to shoot a number of his album covers from that point. Also, the Source magazine, I have to say, is very memorable for me. With that, when Tracy McGregor, the vice president, came calling to Canada looking for the hip-hop photographer, thankfully she was recommended to me, and we're still dear friends to this day.
That's great. What was one of your most memorable shoots, and can you tell us why?
Gosh, I would have to say there's so many memories attached to these moments with these artists, and I would have to say definitely the Access Magazine was absolutely incredible, as it gave me an opportunity to really explore with other artists, really help them visually create an expression of themselves, and also be able to show what I was able to do as an artist, as a talented person, as someone that was right there with them. And it just was incredible, that Access Magazine shoot, especially since it was my first professional shoot. And with that came just a lot of obvious stress and responsibility, and I feel like, if anything, I overcompensated that day, where I had 3 sets, I had 2 makeup artists, 2 assistants, and I remember Chad coming in and to check on me, and then that made me extra nervous. And from there, I remember him just looking around and saying, okay, well, it looks like you've got it covered, I'm leaving. And I was just like, you're leaving? And yes, he did. He left me there, and it all worked out at the end, so that's the best part of the day.
Some of your photos are quite artistic and conceptually driven. Can you talk about some of the images you did with Ghetto Concept, and what ideas artistically you were trying to achieve?
Well, with Ghetto Concept, there's such an amazing sound at their time, that's for sure, and I really appreciated their music. And when I was listening to the music, I really kind of felt this raw energy, a little bit of this gritty undertone, and I tried to really convey that with their photo shoot. And like many other shoots, I always provided sketches. We always sat with each other and definitely really got really deep about their music, what their sound was about, what they were feeling, maybe their favorite places and their time of day, their favorite colors, things like that, that allowed me to really apply that to the finished image. And with the ghetto concept, I really felt, as funny as it may sound, that a junkyard would be a perfect backdrop. There's nothing junky about them, but I'm just saying these beautiful raw elements that can be applied and to create something completely out of this world and beyond your imagination. And really, you know, music can do that, and so can visual art. And with that, you know, I just remember going to the junkyard and these two shone like shiny coins in this setting, and it actually was perfect. They were outstanding, and I can remember laying on the ground, looking up, and having them both walk into the camera. And I really also enjoyed playing with angles and perspectives that you wouldn't usually see or expect, and really having the people I was working with understand that we are working with a rectangle shape. You know, you have to keep in mind that this was all done on film, so there were no, you know, we didn't have a lot of mistakes or leeway for that matter. So I remember laying there on the, you know, on the ground of this junkyard and having them both lean in, and they just looked incredibly powerful. They owned the moment, and we nailed that shot, and many others for that matter that day. I can remember we went to, there was a castle in Toronto, and we went to those grounds at night, and I did some of my tricks of the trade, if you will. I really do enjoy using photography techniques, and for this one shot, I remember flashing them into the image and then having them walk out, and then did like a 2-minute exposure to really let the ambient light around really kind of engage with the film. And it created this amazing image that's basically, you know, the dual exposure. It was an incredible shot and a magical day, and they were just absolutely incredible. You really have to have a trust when you're working with each other, and they gave me that trust, and I also gave that to them, and we made a great team.
It seems like you had a chance to work with Canadian hip-hop artists at a magical time in the late 1990s. What was that like for you as a memory and a moment in your life?
Well, it makes me smile, clearly. It was a magical time, and as they say, timing is everything. And we were a good match for each other. I had artistic vision, they had artistic sound, and we needed each other to really thrive. And with that, I remember often with artists listening to their music, talking to them about colors, shapes, their emotions that were strongest, places that really resonated with them, and would really trying to focus on the perfect place and the perfect setting and the perfect visual expression for them. And often I would provide them with sketches, and this also gave us an opportunity to further talk about the shoot, as well as have them understand what it was that I was going to do with them and help them see it from a visual perspective versus their sound. We were really a great match for each other. I was able to not compromise artistic integrity, and they didn't have to compromise either. I would say it's a beautiful memory for me and something I hold close to my heart. And if anything, you know, it really brings to light for me in reflection the challenges that one can face. I feel like, you know, hip-hop music is so much about these struggles and these challenges, and, you know, rising above and thriving, and you really being the best you can be and creating your own positive world. And that also happened for me working in the hip-hop industry. I'd have to say, leaving Vancouver, you know, leaving my city, going to a city I'd never even visited before, and I had certainly not lived in, and then to find roommates, have a studio in a shared space. I remember the landlord would turn off the heat after 6, and it's Toronto, it gets cold. And also, we didn't even have a kitchen, we had a makeshift kitchen. So I feel like, thankfully, I certainly wasn't at that point in my life of being a creature of comforts, and I was willing to make these sacrifices of these comforts for the greater good, if you will. And I really believed in the people around me and believed in myself, and we believed in each other, and I think that there was a lot to be said about that, and certainly it's quite beautiful to be part of this show, Mixtapes, in Toronto, really giving the opportunity to share what we've done and what we accomplished and how we inspired each other and how we continue to inspire. And honestly, that's what art is about. Art is inspiration. And I'm quite honored to be part of that.